issues facing the country. You need politicians who are positions and principles and long-standing views to the bottom line. She's got the whole issue of the Westminster politics was quite interesting.
Whatever faith you still had left in humanity, that's the thing people say on their videos, isn't it? If that didn't kill off your faith in humanity, then perhaps this conversation between Jennifer Lewis.
There's a trend on YouTube, well it's been going on for a couple of years now, of usually young ladies in Laura Ashley dresses, long flowing hair, beautiful young ladies, the kind of person I've always found attractive, like natural, country, the girl next door looking lasses, and they're doing videos, quite successful ones, and then usually very, very, very well produced, about living the slow life.
The most difficult thing is to find that first phrase, an opening to any story or dialogue. Take that first step towards your dream. Start something for the first time, anything. It requires so much strength. And so I sit here, pondering over the first starting line of today's video. The middle of it, the ending, all written in hectic, sporadic spurs over the recent days, when one thought occurs flowing into another.
Quietening down, slowing down, and they're great to watch, and I watch quite a few of them, and they are relaxing. But I think they are missing out on a couple of things. Now, I'm not attractive, I'm just an old, bald, nearly 70-year-old white guy with a northern accent who isn't that good to look at and probably isn't that good to listen to, but there's nothing I can do about that because that's my accent and I'm proud of it. My father always said to me, it doesn't care what your accent's like as long as you enunciate properly, and I try to enunciate properly. So all you poor people who don't live in the northwest of England can understand what I'm saying. But let's get down to this. These videos, usually taken in the countryside, usually taken at a nice time of year, and there's nice music in the background, and there's a lot of sitting in log cabins, drinking tea, walking in the fields, and they really do make you want to get out there and be in that environment. And they're great, and like I say, I love watching them and they are very relaxing. And I will put a link to my favourite one in the description. But I do think that they kind of miss out slightly on a couple of things. So here's my take on living the slow life. It's what I try to do. I tried to do it for the last, usually it started about 17 years ago actually, when I had a landscaping business and I was doing quite well and everything was okay, and I just bought my narrowboat to live on, and I immediately had a couple of massive heart attacks, a triple heart bypass. The doctors actually gave me between 5 and 10 years because they said I'd got chronic heart failure, which I still have, and my heart is trying to close down all the time. But they gave me between 5 and 10 years to live. And that was 17 years ago, and I'm still going strong. And I think a lot of that is to do with how you think, your attitude to life, and living the slow life properly. And I think a lot of that is, when people think of living the slow life, they probably think of just slowing down. But the problem is, if you slow down, that means you get up in the morning, what do? You think, well, I don't want to push things, so you sit on the couch watching the television. That's not living the slow life, because at the end of the day, you've achieved nothing. You will kick yourself for achieving nothing, and you won't have lived a slow life. You would have lived a completely sedentary life, and there's a difference. So to live the slow life, you need a plan. Every day needs a plan. Sounds kind of contradictory, that. Living the slow life but having a plan, as if you're going to work, which you are. You're working at enjoying yourself, living a slow life, making sure that your mind and your body is achieving what you set it out to achieve, what you set out to achieve. So you wake up in the morning, you have a plan about what you're doing, so that you are active during the day, but in the way that you want to be active, in the slow lane, taking things slowly. I'm overtaken by people all the time as we're out in the countryside. One of the reasons is that I can't walk as fast as I used to because of my heart disease, but another thing is because I want to enjoy everything that's around me. Where I am now in the beautiful English countryside, surrounded by fields, dry stone walls, just been watching a deer at the side of the road grazing. I try to take a bit of footage, I hope it comes out. And it's calm and it's a beautiful day. I've just heard on the weather forecast that it's going to be mild and it's going to be overcast in the northwest and sunny in the south. Well, we're in the northwest and it is overcast, but it is so mild. It's mild, there's hardly any wind, and all I can hear, can you hear them? All I can hear is the birds in the trees. Lots of different kinds of birds. I can usually identify most of them. But it suits us and it suits Molly because she's living a slow life too. So we're happy. But living the slow life, yes, be organised. Don't just not do things and think that you're living a slow life. Don't just sit on your backside and think you're living a slow life. You still need to be out enjoying the world, enjoying what's around you. But if you do it living a slow life, you'll see more, you'll hear more, you'll smell more, you'll appreciate more. There's not enough hours in the day. That's an old cliche, an old hackneyed phrase, isn't it? But it's true, it's very true. There's no one out here today. I've just been overtaken. I say there's no one out. I've been overtaken by some women out running and a couple of people with a dog, all going at 90 miles an hour. That's great. They're getting their exercise in, getting their heart rate going. Good for the cardiovascular, and well done them. But we're living our slow life. And another thing that I did that I find very, very helpful, when I had my heart surgery and I kind of sat on the boat for as long as it took, and then 8 months later work, that's when I got the job on the marina, because they said to me, if you can work part-time now, why don't you come and work for us? And I worked there part-time and I ended up working there full-time for 15 years. But what I used to do, I got into meditation, and meditation is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and has really done me a power of good. It's really helped me in life, and I think it's helped my health hugely. Now, getting into meditation isn't that easy. You really have to kind of research it, how to do it, because it's not, I was doing it wrong for so long. I used to go in the office at work and go upstairs, and we had a room upstairs, like a little conference room. And I used to go up there at lunchtime, set my phone for 20 minutes, which I do most days now. I only do 20 minutes, some people do half an hour, some people do an hour, some people do 5 minutes. 20 minutes suits me. Set the alarm, and it brings me out of it with a nice bit of music. But I was doing it wrong, because I was meditating, trying to meditate, but I was actually more or less falling asleep. And that's not the point of meditation. Meditation, you should be aware of what's going around you. It's difficult to describe, so the best thing to do is just research it. But try it. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I do it most days now. Occasionally I can't because I always do it in the morning, and I think that's just out of habit. I don't need to, that's just out of habit. But if I've got things on, like appointments, or I have to be up early, or Molly wants to be out because she needs to go to the loo, then, you know, I do miss the occasional day, but most days I do. And I don't sit cross-legged on the floor, I just sit in a chair. I usually sit in like an upright chair, like a kitchen chair or something, because that's how I feel comfortable doing it. Just like an aeroplane past, noisy bugger, and the thing is, he was only going about 10 miles an hour, so it's taking forever to get past us. Yeah, that's how it suits me, and I sit there, I close my eyes. Although, as you get into it, you find that isn't completely necessary. I taught myself walking meditation, which is a great experience, which is like when you're meditating, but you're actually out walking about in real life. Sounds like a bit of a mad thing to do, but when you learn about meditation, it just all makes sense. And that's really, meditation has helped me ground myself, relax, get into my core. It sounds all very hippie, but it works. Living a slow life is something I think we should all aspire to in this mad, stupid, busy age we live in, with wars and famines and lunatic governments trying to grind us all into the ground, and nobody listening to each other and empathising with each other. So you can live the slow life, and you can work and live the slow life. Just make sure that in your free time you have a plan and carry out that plan, appreciating. And because you're doing it in a slower pace, you will appreciate everything around you, and take time to stop and appreciate everything around you. Because it's a great place, this world, and we only get one knock at it, so we might as well make the most of it. And I think I'm living proof that living slow and being organised in your time, at your own pace, within your own boundaries, your own abilities, which means that you will live as long as you can. So it doesn't have to be about where you are, it's all about where you are in your head. You could be in the middle of a big city, a town, on a beach somewhere, in a woodland somewhere, in a field somewhere, in a little log cabin somewhere, in a tent somewhere, in a hotel room somewhere. It's all about the pace of life. It's all about keeping going. It's all about resisting the urge to be sedentary, because that's like a bit of a plague, isn't it? The longer you sit down, the less you want to get up and do something. Have you ever noticed this when you're ill and you lie on the couch, and eventually you get better, but then you don't want to get up because you've been lying on the couch so long? And life's like that. Get up in the morning, start watching daytime television with a cup of tea and a slice of toast. The next thing you know, it's the afternoon. Next thing you know, it's the evening. And if you're like me and you have an unproductive day, you will kick yourself. I do. I really am angry with myself if I come to the end of a day and I feel it's a wasted day. So you have to make a plan. In your own head, it doesn't have to be anything strict. Just ideas of what you're going to do for the day and carry them out. Keep busy, but at a slow pace. And I think you'll find that being at peace in your head really does affect your health. So if you want to live as long as you possibly can and be as happy as you possibly can, don't just stumble into each day. Don't just get up each day and take life as it comes. Take life as whatever it gives you. You dictate how you approach life, but make sure you do it at a pace that's going to benefit you. You dictate the pace. You dictate so much of your life. We all dictate so much of our lives, but then we abdicate that over to the people who rule us. And we shouldn't. We should live autonomously in our own heads. So think on, do as I tell you. Do as your Uncle Nigel tells you. And have peace and love for a long life. See you on the flip.